Greetings, Divine Mirrors. Sacred, awakening, remembering, gods and goddesses, one and all. Thank you for showing up. Welcome to Voices of the Global Awakening, Tuesdays with Tess, episode number 41. Our topic today is Your Divine Birthright. If this is your first time tuning in, what this program is a weekly community enrichment offering that is sharing provocative, cutting-edge thoughts and ideas to support you in considering who you may be beyond our cultural programming and conditioning and peer pressure and wounding have rendered us experiencing ourselves at, and to reclaim that divine part and do it in ways that are user-friendly and supportive and sometimes fun, sometimes emotional, sometimes spontaneously bursting into song. And I am happy to chat with you or for 2 hours and just sort of channel what is coming through me. And oftentimes people are tuning in and offering to come on camera with me, which is really wonderful because then it is a dialogue versus a monologue. And sometimes I have pre-planned guests as well. So it's a little bit of everything, and it is definitely an opportunity to shift out of our very fast-paced, time-bound reality and move more fully into a spacious, expansive, moving at what I describe as the pace of grace, and healing our nervous system together as we sometimes even just sit in presence together, just sit and breathe and be and really allow ourselves to receive the miracle that is our embodiment in this dimension. I see Stu is here and Anna is here. Welcome. Hello, love to you as well. Nice to see you. And if you have anything on your heart or mind or anything that is alive for you that you would like reflection on, please feel free to indicate that you'd like to come on and chat with me, and hopefully the technology will support that. It sometimes works and sometimes doesn't, but absolutely, as I say in the description, it's important to be on a cell phone because so far that is the only way that you can connect into the call. So again, the topic today is your divine birthright, and I would love to know, before I launch into my own musings about that, what that means to you, and what it evokes when you hear those words, your divine birthright, whether it is something that you have given thought to or whether it is something that you may be considering for the first time and hearing me say it. So I'm very interested in hearing others' opinions and perspectives. And Gio, blessings, Gio. Nice to see you here. So again, today's topic is your divine birthright. I'm very interested in what that evokes in you, if you feel to come on camera and share. And I'm hoping we're going to have a good time with technology today. I had a technician here from Cox Communications for felt like a couple of hours anyway to hopefully resolve whatever dead spots we've experienced in the past. I was talking a lot about the feminine, and it might fit in. You want to come on? Let's see if I can grab you. If not, you know what? I think I need you to, let me see if I can do it like this. Share broadcast. It's telling me that I don't have viewers, but I know that that's not true. So let's see, Anna, if I am able to grab you and bring you to me. And if not, there's a little icon at the bottom of the screen, and it's like the outline of a person with a little box and another person in it, and that would be the way that you can reach out to me. I am not able to grab you from my end. So please give that a shot. Hello from Scottsdale, just dropping in for a few. Well, welcome back. I don't know if you've been stateside for a while. It seems like you've been traveling quite a bit, but I don't know if you've been inside or outside of the country, but I know Scottsdale is definitely a home base for you. So it is good to see you. Okay, and Anna, yeah, please see if you can make that happen, because I would love to drop in with you. That would be great. And as we wait to see, you sent the request? Okay. And there you are. Perfect. Add. Welcome, Andrew Shepard. Nice to see you here. Okay, and I am welcoming to the world stage, live from the center of existence here on Facebook at Voices of a Global Awakening, Tuesdays with Tess, Ana Luisa Doria Menoir. I think, is that how you say it? I don't know how you say your last name. I don't know if I've ever said it aloud before. It says that it's adding you, so we'll see. And Dan Hare is here. And George is here. We're having a good turnout. Our conversation today is on your divine birthright. I am very, very interested to hear what that evokes in you, whether it is something that you have given some thought to or are just hearing those words for the first time, and what it brings up to say. The technology is attempting to add Ana Luisa. Let's see if I can. Okay, trying again. You probably have to click on something. On my end, it says that it's adding you, Anna. And while we wait, I'm just going to take a deep breath and drop into presence with you and invite you to do the same, and let us co-regulate our nervous systems into grace-filled peace together. It's still trying to add you. Nothing's showing up. You don't see anything on your side? The only thing that I could suggest is if you want to reboot your phone and try again. But yeah, I'm attempting to add you. Did you click on that little icon at the bottom? That's the only other thing that I could suggest if you haven't already done that. No. So there's a little icon. There should be a little icon. I'm on an Android. I don't know what kind of device you have, but on the Android, there's like the outline of a little person with a little box and a little person. And John Crutchfield, welcome to Voices of the Global Awakening, Tuesdays with Tess. Nice to see you. I'd love to have you come on and play Imagine for us at some point in this broadcast, because that's part of our divine birthright, is to see that world of peace that we have all been envisioning for so long, and that would be a huge honor. We'll be on here until 7 p.m. You can only access through a cell phone, and if that is something in your heart to do, it would be delightful to have you. While I am waiting for Anna to connect, and I am still optimistic that we can make that happen, on my computer, I'm going to pull up a post that I was inspired to channel a couple of days ago. It's on my Facebook page on May 1st at about 5:30 in the evening, and I had called it My Rights, and it is maybe it was the inspiration for our topic today, which is your divine birthright. Welcome, Art. I'd love to have you in on this conversation at some point if you feel inspired. So I was just about to share this post I channeled the other day, which I think may have been the inspiration for this topic today, and it was my rights. I have the right to be peaceful. I have the right to be relaxed. I have the right
to be trusting. I have the right to be calm. I have the right to feel safe. I have the right to be happy. I have the right to take care of myself. I have the right to not worry. I have the right to stay youthful, idealistic, and expectant. I have the right to function at my own grace-filled pace. I have the right to discount the man-made concept of time and live expansively in the eternal present. And the eternal present is one of the things that I would love to talk about in this call today. I have the right to ignore mania, fear porn, dogma, and propaganda. I have the right to live by total faith in the intelligent source that animates me. I have the right to completely heal my nervous system. I have the right to not concern myself with anyone's projections or judgments, acceptance or approval. I have the right to be guilt-free, regret-free, and free, no matter what others believe or choose. I have the right to adopt thoughts that please me. I have the right to not go along or fit in and love myself anyway. I have the right to just be me. And so it is. Ana Luisa is still unable to connect to the call, unfortunately. You still should be able to do it with an icon. With an iPhone, the icon that I described might be someplace else on your screen, or maybe it even looks a little bit differently, but there definitely should be a way on your iPhone. And I see Betty has joined us. Welcome, Bracha. Good to see you. Very good to see you. So what I just shared was a piece that I channeled and posted on my page on Facebook a few days ago. And our topic today is your divine birthright. And I really want to delve into that. The name of this program is Voices of the Global Awakening. One of the groups that I formed on Facebook, which you can find in the description, is called Waking Up from the Hypnosis of Mortal Reality. And, for whatever reasons of my particular journey that have been rather painful, and they say that what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. And so I give thanks for my mother, who many of you know was a Holocaust survivor, and she was one of the most tenacious, strong-willed people that I have ever had the honor of getting to meet, and she and had such an influence on me, and the takeaway of my journey with her is that I can survive anything. Anna is saying, great to see you too, Bracha. Anna, I would say my divine birthright is to feel safe in the world and to live in pleasure and joy. Amen. Amen. I 100% align with that. And if I can support you in anchoring that in your being so unequivocally that that is your guiding light, and that no matter what is going on the world stage, welcome Richard, no matter what is going on the world stage, that you hold that position like a Buckingham Palace guard, and that your peaceful countenance, your safe feeling countenance is the most important thing that you can cultivate and contribute to this world at this time, a frequency of peace and trust and safety in the face of all the calamities that are bombarding us, and that many of us, myself included, know people directly on the front lines of that. And so it is very easy to drop into despair. and lose our center. And yet, if we do that, then the dark wins. And the story that I'm invested in is a happily ever after story in which the light prevails. And it reminds me of this wonderful Abraham Hicks quote that you may have heard me share before. It's one of my favorites. And they would say, stop telling God how big your problems are. Instead, tell your problems how big your God is. And if you don't like the word and you don't resonate with the word God, you can replace it with a great spirit or source or source intelligence or benevolent intelligence or the animator or the great Schnai in the sky, or a friend of mine calls it Gus, which stands something for like great universal spirit or something like that. Whatever it is, that miraculous consciousness that conceived and birthed each and every one of us, that animated us, breathed life into our being, has an investment in our characters, and created each one of us with meticulous precision to detail as to our passions, our interests, our proclivities, our neuroses, like everything, our allergies, all the things, our handicaps, our challenges, every single thing that is carefully drawn into our character that shapes us and makes us uniquely us. That intelligence is the source of our sustenance and our being, and we are the offspring of that consciousness. And so as offspring of this miraculous intelligence that animates this field, that animates all that is, we have the right to feel worthy of the blessing and the miracle of getting to be here. No matter what we perceive or evaluate that we have accomplished or not accomplished, our so-called successes, our failures, our setbacks, whatever it may have been, we are each on a singularly unique journey. And I assert that each and every one of our journeys is sacred. And it seems to me that the more we awaken to that, the more aware that we become of how very miraculous, sacred, blessed, and privileged we are to get to exist, the more we can be in joy, the more we can relax into that sense of safety and peace. And the more we do that, the more we come into alignment. You know, there's a biblical quote. I love biblical quotes, the ones that resonate with me. And I love to share them because it makes me feel like there's things from my upbringing that I can take away from it, and that I can feel really good and bring forth. And it's not about living the letter of the law. It's about living the spirit of the law. And if it is our creators, another term, our creators' great joy to give us this dimension, this beautiful field, because if you look to nature, there is so much beauty and there is so much passion inherent in it that it seems like the reason that we suffer and that we feel resentment and jealousy and envy and revenge and all these more sort of bitter, toxic energies is because on a certain level we do not understand how miraculous and precious we are, and we do not therefore own our worth equal to any and every other being existing in this dimension. Anna says, my conversations today started with a question. As a woman Would you feel safer with a bear or with a man? That thing is circulating the internet right now, yes. The fairy tale Beauty and the Beast illustrates this. Most women prefer the bear. Where I lost my place. Where did or beast is predictable. Men are not trustworthy, as it is evident in the thousands of years of the repression and prosecution of the feminine. My thinking is because the feminine is powerful beyond measure and based in creativity, pleasure, and joy. Patriarchy fears that power. Anna replied to Geo, you may need to swipe up to reveal the request to join icon. I tried that. A new video comes on. Fema Gelman, welcome. I hope I said your name right. Well, okay, so Anna, I absolutely agree with you. I absolutely agree. It is only the feminine that gives birth, even though the masculine provides the seed and plants the seed. It is only the feminine that is capable of giving birth. And so consequently, our vessels are the portals through which creation occurs. And the earth is feminine. Everything that arises from the earth arises the same way as our human births. Geo says, on my iPhone, there is a tiny arrow at the left corner that opens everything up. We must reclaim this birthright. Yes, we absolutely must. And I've been kind of delighting on this hashtag that I conceived, and I want to put out as a slow world takeover movement, and it is hashtag yin wins. I believe that the only way out is the soft feminine way. The only way out is in. The only way out is yin. And so it's really an inside job, because this entire dimension is an outpicturing based on our filters that, because of our journeys, are largely wounded. You like that? Cool. Yeah, well, yeah, let's have a conversation offline about this, because I really, really want to start this movement. I really think that, because I do believe in the power of the word, and I do believe in planting thought seeds, and I believe that even if people like discount them because they think it's silly or whatever, it's still planted, it's still imprinted, and I think that this is one way that the wounded masculine has, in its misunderstanding of the sacredness of life and the oneness and its sense of competitiveness and believe in lack and shortage, has felt threatened, and so consequently wants to conquer and usurp as opposed to share. And the feminine way is through sharing, is through service, is through softness. And so if we hold within ourselves, and I'm experiencing it in my own life, the more I allow myself to be in my own inner peace sanctuary, and to be in my soft feminine and be in my quiet, I am finding my grounding. I am finding my peace. I am healing my nervous system. I know my yes and no. It is clearing the confusion in my program mind, because I'm coming into alignment with a bodily felt awareness and intelligence that transcends the programming. And if you've been on with me before, you've heard me talk about certain practices that I do where I keep my feet, I can feel the soles of my feet touching the ground, and I feel myself 100% supported and sustained by the mother, the mater, the material plane that holds me. And as I take slow, deep breaths of prana life force into my lungs, that is the unmanifest masculine principle, I can feel the masculine energy supporting me. And so between these two practices, and whether it's my feet or whether it's my rear end in my chair, whether it's doing a mudra and just feeling my fingers or holding onto the steering wheel or feeling my forearms on a armrest, even up in an airplane, I can convince myself that I am 100% safe and supported in this dimension, and so it is. And that's my story, and I stick to it, and I don't allow anyone or anything that is trying to convince me of something else shake me from that peaceful core. That is my practice. I'm not perfect at it, but that is my ongoing practice. Who do we have here? Caitlin is here. Welcome. Tim, welcome. Samara, hi. Aloha, welcome. I saw other people drop in too. Julie, welcome. Nice to see you. And I don't know if I missed anybody, but anyway, if any of you are able to get on, I'm not sure exactly. Hello, Rebecca. Powerful yin wins, and so it is. Yes, yes, it's between that, and I have, if you look up in the description, I have another group that you're welcome to join and become an ambassador with me of. It is called Rename the Planet, Planet Peace. And my contention is that, here we are on this beautiful planet, and I don't know where the name Earth actually came from, but the unconsciousness of the masses has been to rape and plunder and degrade the body of the mother, our sacred mother. And so, certain people that are aware of the sacredness refer to her as Gaia. And it occurred to me, well, what if we also planted this thought seed and we just started calling this planet peace, and calling each of us ambassadors of planet peace. And with every step we take, it is our tread is an awareness of the sacredness of the land upon which we tread, and it is a blessing and a prayer that we in this yin winds sort of quiet way, we the people, we reclaim the body of the mother and treat her with the honor that she deserves. And now we are residing on planet peace. So that's another program I would love your support in making spread. And so it is. And it's like each of us gets to choose what that feels like in our body and walk there. I don't know how many years ago it was, probably 20 years. It was after 9/11. I was on what practical actions can we take towards that? Well, I mean, we can build websites, and we can share come up with some really cool promotional ads. We can share the website. I also had another idea the other day, and I sent away to Amazon, and I got a package of 50 little stones that all say peace on them. And I was thinking that I could start a campaign called Peace in Your Pocket, and I could send these stones out to people. We could have a store, and we could send these stones out to people by donation. All they need to do is pay for shipping. And so then all of a sudden everybody is walking around with peace in their pocket as a talisman. And what will that feel like? And then I was thinking that we could make some custom made our own that say shalom on one side and salam on the other, and we can ship those out to the Middle East. And so everybody, people can start walking around with peace in their pocket, and yin wins, and we now reside on planet peace. So you see how it all goes together. So if there's like a marketing plan and a strategy and some little icon, and maybe it's bumper stickers and t-shirts that say hashtag yin wins, hashtag planet peace, Rebecca, I'm in. I am surely an ambassador for planet peace. Amen. And so it is, Anna. Yes, but that does not empower that young woman walking on the street to change the constant trauma inflicted on her. Well, I mean, my part is offerings. I'm offering a slow queen retreat. I am open. I'm looking for places to start offering the shamanic expression jam again and public therapy theater. I do primal emotional release work with people. Maybe that's something that I can also do online. I'm absolutely open to exploring those kind of things because peace is a frequency, and when we get into the presence of it and we start resonating with it, everything unlike peace comes up and out for healing. Everything unlike love comes up and out for healing. And so creating safe containers where people have permission to wail and scream and curse and beat on things and move that trauma energy out of their bodies. I have spent a lot of time with my, laying on the earth and with my hands on the earth to find what peace feels like in my own body, because like you, Anna, I've had a lifetime of, epigenetic PTSD. And so I came into the world a product of a traumatized seed and a traumatized womb. And so with a lot of unhealed, unprocessed stuff that my parents had that I was just like carrying in my body. And when I was a little girl, my father would put a ruler over the top of my hand just to like observe how my hands would shake. And he had steady hands, which was really very interesting to me given what he had personally gone through. And so I inherited all that unprocessed stuff. So coming into this world as a kind of natural born peace ambassador, yet having so much trauma in my nervous system, it has been a concerted effort on my part to co-regulate with the body of the mother to learn what peace feels like so that I could realign myself to that frequency. Is anything I'm saying landing as resonant for ways to move forward? And I'm not the only voice here, so I'm open to what other people want to say about it. And if anybody would like to join me on this call, now I see the possibility of inviting Bracha, Geo, Stu, Richer, and Jane available to me. And if any of you have that icon, or I think Geo is describing what it looks like, which is different than on an Android, that opens up more possibilities to join. Trauma release, yes. So are you saying yes, you want to come on and talk to me, or yes, you're agreeing with what I was saying? And these are things that if any of you would like to discuss these further with me to see if you're dealing with this kind of stuff and if I can support you in any way, please send me a private message and let's set up a 20 or 30-minute discovery call to see how we might work together. Okay, I'm going to see if I can grab you. Geo. I just had a Cox Communications person out here today. I see we're gonna get you.
Hey,
Yay! Hi.
hey, hey, good to see
Thank you.
you.
Good to see you too. It's been forever.
I know it's been forever, so I'll have to work hard not to hog up like an hour of the time here talking to you, but I'm
Thank
glad to
you.
see
I'm
you.
glad to see you too. Tell me, what's alive for you?
Well, I want to bring the thing that you were first asking about, like what was the first question was about
Your divine birthright is our topic today.
your divine birthright. And so it's I'm going to preface saying what I'm going to say with, like, it's a little bit, to me, a little bit like looking at a painting, and this is what I see. And so there's like two things that come up for me around that. And the first thing is the notion, and actually the practice that I take part in, which is that I am that. which is I am, right? That's our connection, that I am that, which it means at the deepest level that I am part of all that is. So all that is.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that's a very powerful, for me,
How does
experience.
that
And it takes me,
does that live in you? How does that live in you?
I do a meditation every morning called the six-step meditation from Vishen Lakhiani from Mind
Okay.
Valley.
Oh.
And one of the very first steps in the practice is to to imagine the energy, my energy field, expanding out with I add a color to it, and expanding out to go across all the lands and then to encompass the earth. And so that is kind of like it's like a representation, a metaphor, an energetic activation that connects me to all that is on the planet. And sometimes I bring it out even further to all that is, the entire cosmos. And so that's what my practice is, and that's what that's what those words. And like I said, it's like kind of like looking at an artwork, and that's my interpretation. But I have another one as well. So two of them. And so the other one is my divine birthright. What comes up for me, and this is me, saying what the artwork piece looks like. Where my mind goes, and to me it's more like, it kind of like is more earthly. So, birthright, being I'm birthed, I'm here, and what is my, what are my rights? Where my mind goes, or this is my interpretation of the art piece, it goes more towards what are my responsibilities.
Okay.
Because I experience on the earth plane, on the cultural milieu, there's a lot of talk about what our rights are. And I see so much people declaring what their rights are, almost like they're entitled. Not almost, it is, they are entitled. I see people actually acting out that way.
Well, again,
My,
let's say, so when you say entitled, and I feel like I understand what you mean, and I kind of want you to expand upon that, because there's it's such an interesting word because it can be used positively and negatively, and so I want to hear more what you mean about people
yeah.
feel. Yeah, go ahead.
So for example, so there's so much media online, and I both love and hate, right, this amazing ability that we have now to all share our ideas on social media. And one of the channels that I see is quite popular now, or one of the things that is kind of in this space that we're talking about, are entitlement. And one of the entitlement things that I see is people, is probably a specific person, I'm not a big follower of it, but it just comes up in my feed, of this person like going like into police stations and other like public domains, and kind of disrupting the space by videotaping, by capturing on camera. And I'm not sure if they're I don't think they're live streaming. I think they're making video, and what they're basically saying, in their message, their birthright entitles them to, to be in public spaces like that, and videotape everything.
What for
And
what purpose? What is it? What is their good purpose in that?
what the purpose is it's kind of their way, I think, of saying that their right, they have a right to videotape everything.
Well,
So to go into, to go in, specifically, typically police stations, and I think mostly police stations, because I think they're trying to make a point, that we have a right to to capture everything. And it's our right to go into a police station and capture everything that's happening there. Like that's a right that we have.
Is this
And
person trying to call out corruption? Is that what's the purpose? Like, because to me, like when I say divine birthright, I'm feeling that as an incarnated being who has been given the privilege of life, that, like, if I don't know if you were on when I was reading these rights that I had posted on Facebook the other day, which is basically like I have the right to be peaceful. I have the right to feel safe. It's like the creator didn't give me a life to be here suffering and living in fear. I mean, it's a way of living because we're programmed and it's scary and all this other stuff. But if we can wake ourselves up out of that hypnosis and claim our rights, we can walk with those things sort of fully embodied within us, and walk through the valley of the shadow of death and fear no evil, and that kind of thing. So to me, it's like the things that we have that are inalienable gifts from our creator is the right to feel free, and the right to choose where we're putting.
so this is kind of what this person is saying. And again, this is me interpreting the artwork, so you don't have to agree
I'm
or
just trying to
disagree
get
or compare it
clearer on
to.
yeah.
Yeah. So what this person is basically saying is, and you could intersperse the word divine in there, but this person, and it's not just this person. I'm just
Yeah.
giving you one of. I could go on and give you many examples of people who announce that they have the right to to let's say expose everything that goes on within a governmental
Mm-hmm.
institution. Like that's their interpretation of their divine right. Like they're saying, as a person they have a right to do that. And what I again, just what comes up to me is, what are our
Okay.
responsibilities? That's what comes. That's just, again, just what comes up to me when I hear that, because I see so many examples of people who have been traumatized and who probably are traumatized. That's probably why they do things that probably speak to other traumatized people. So it's quite up in the Black community now as well, of people doing things that are quite outrageous, but it's they're declaring their right to do
I
something.
feel, yeah,
And
I
again,
feel
just
you, and I feel like what you're describing is coming from a wounded place, right? Is
exactly,
coming
yeah,
from a
exactly,
wounded place. And the other thing that I was going to say, besides our freedom, is our precious focus of attention. So, like I consider that my divine birthright is where I choose to put my precious focus of attention. And it seems to me, if somebody is choosing to put their precious focus of attention on these things that you're describing, that's coming from a wounded place. That's not coming from a sort of sacred connection to source, going, I'm so privileged to get to be here. I'm so humbly honored, and this is what I want to put my attention on. You know,
yeah. I would say that in my two responses to it. One is a divine, true divine. To me, the divine, you know, that word doesn't really resonate with me a whole lot. Divine right. It's just not a word that I
okay.
resonate with a whole lot.
So
But
say
but
more
but
about
to,
your responsibilities, your divine responsibilities. What would that be?
well, let's say if we were to talk about, let's say, uh, peace, right? I feel like my responsibility is to bring peace. And so for me, I would never, to me, it's such an offense to go in and, let's say, judge the police in the very difficult job that they have to do, to me, my way of relating to it is I want to support the police to do their job. I don't want to make their job more difficult for them, by doing completely unnecessary and annoying,
Well, it's
things.
confrontive. It's passive aggressive. It's not peaceful. It's passive aggressive. And
It's one person's interpretation of what they think is, both, because that's basically is what they're saying. They're basically saying that they have the right to videotape, in a public building, which I think is technically probably
right.
true.
I would question highest use. It's like, because I'm always looking for the highest use of myself and my precious focus of attention. And it would be like, I would love to ask this person, do you believe that this is the highest use of yourself? Because, do you know Gangaji? Do you know the spiritual teacher Gangaji? Are you familiar with her?
No.
She had a quote that I've said for many years. She said, every moment we're choosing, am I contributing to the peace or am I contributing to the chaos?
There you go.
So
Yeah.
So that would be it. I'm going to say something. Well, two things I want to say is that when you said being one with all that is, you were quoting a lyric to one of my songs, which I'll probably get back to later, which made me happy. And then the second thing is, you were the one who showed me that I could have two people on at the same time, and there's a person waiting. Would you mind if I bring her on and we have a three-way conversation?
Sure.
Okay.
Let's do it.
Let's see if I could do that. Accept. Join. I hope I still keep you because I'm enjoying talking to you.
Yeah, same.
The word earth comes from the Old English word EPR, this and earthe, which means ground in German. It is Erde, E-R-D-E. The word earth is at least 1,000 years old. Well, thank you for that, Richard. I'm happy to know that. So, Gio, I want you to meet Jane. Jane, meet Gio.
Hi, Gio. Hi.
It was Gio who told me it is possible to have two people on at once. I didn't know that before
Very cool. I'm excited to be
Yeah.
participating.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, it's so fun to have a multi-person discussion like this, because I'm not sure if this is true or not, Tess, but I recall you talking about, I think this is correct, about like wanting to have a talk show. And so a multi-person panel is quite engaging and quite captivating, and it has a certain format to it. But yeah, I really like it.
Awesome. So Jane, welcome.
Thank you. Hi. Interesting topic.
Hi. Yeah. So
Jane,
how do you resonate with what I was speaking in terms of, responsibilities versus rights?
Yeah, it's sort of, to me, a little bit complex. So I agree with Tess that the person seemed to be coming from a wounded place and creating adversarial.
Yes.
So rather than assuming that, instead of assuming adversarialness, coming from a heart place. So if the person wants to have some transparency about what's happening in the police station, they might approach them and suggest something, or I'm not even sure, because
they just say they have a right to film there, which I think they do, like technically and legally they do have a right to do it.
It's assuming,
but is it right?
I'm assuming that they are coming from the assumption that the police are trying to hide something.
I think that is their assumption. And they're also, I believe that their assumption is that the police are a bad element.
Right. So there's something that feels, without having seen it myself, but just from your description, something that feels passive aggressive about it.
Yeah.
because I think that
I agree.
where Jane was going was that if they were wanting to come as evolutionary allies and go to the police department and say, hey, you know, there's so much bad rap out in the world about corruption, and I would like to come in here and videotape so we could create some transparency and maybe put people's mind at ease
Yeah,
about y'all doing your job, as opposed to this is my right, I'm coming in here, which again feels aggressive. It's like they may
yeah,
have the right, but is it right, which is what you're saying,
Yeah.
Gio.
Yeah.
exactly. A
Yes.
lot of times,
So what I was really what I,
uh,
what I was really trying to say was what's our responsibility, and I could
oh yeah,
maybe
okay.
you
I
know
could respond.
kind of couple that to what Tess was saying about you know, being a peacemaker, and so that would probably fit into my, you know, category in terms of like what's our responsibility. I think I do, and to me, you know, bringing peace to the world, what does that mean? Yeah, it means, you know, it means that we have a responsibility to do things that do bring peace and that do heal. And I'm not saying that that's always the action that has to be taken. Sometimes bad things do happen, and the right thing to do might be something that's aggressive or seeming to be passive aggressive or whatever. But otherwise, just in a general, the world that we all share together, I believe we have the responsibility to bring peace, and that's an active process. There's an action to it.
I
Well,
think at the
that
bottom
go,
about
go ahead.
at the bottom of it is to make sure the bottom line responsibility is to make sure that where you're coming from is not from a triggered place, which is going along with what both of you are saying. In other
Hmm.
words, a lot of times when people say I have the right to such and such and such and such, it's because on an emotional and probably unconscious level they believe they don't. The problem is inside themselves. They are
I agree.
trying to fight an inner problem with uh,
Outer
acting out
action.
outside,
Hmm.
and
Absolutely.
Hmm.
I agree
and
100%.
so that doesn't bring you into the present moment truth, where you can be on equal grounds, and you can, whatever there's unclarity or problem or whatever, if you're not treating the other person as an adversary and you're coming into where you really are, say, okay, this is a situation that triggers me. I've got some stuff to deal with. This is what I would really like, or something along those lines. Um,
Yeah.
because you're
Yeah.
not going to find any change or any forward movement with all coming together on solid ground. I don't know how clear I'm being here.
Well,
Yeah. No,
what do you feel about like the Dalai Lama quote of, you know, or not Dalai Lama, Gandhi. Now I'm confused, of being the peace that we want to see in the world. Like if we're being the peace, it's sort of like the thing that I was saying before, the hashtag yin wins. It's like how do we enact peace by being aggressive, or do we have to be peaceful and allow our countenance to emanate out into the field and imagine that that will evoke change? Uh, Anna is saying our responsibility is to ourselves. If we claim our rights and in that live in peace, then our responsibility is to help others claim their birthright. Until we have peace in ourselves, our personal life, there cannot be peace in the world. I agree with that. And she says, I don't think that a woman's desire for her birthright is entitlement. No, I don't think anybody's desire for their birthright is entitlement. I think an awakening into the truth of our miraculousness, that like we're just so programmed to to feel mundane in this quote unquote dog eat dog world, and so we're all adversarial and at odds with one another, rather than feeling how sacred each and every one of us is. And when we realize the sacredness within ourselves, then we realize it instantly in everybody else. And then there's no
Yeah.
fear of lack and shortage, because it's like we're all equally privileged to get to exist. So there must be enough here for all of us. Because
I agree with that.
the same intelligence that created each of us created the earth, created all the, the crops and everything. And so I have a lyric in one of my songs. It says, there's enough here for all, there's no energy drain. Mother Earth would not birth what she could not sustain. It's like, to me, that's logic. It's just
Beautiful, Tess.
logical.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I
Thank
love
you. And
that.
in fact, I have once heard in quantum physics that the actual mass of the Earth continues to expand exponentially. So
Really?
where certain
Wow.
factions are, it's not this like finite fixed thing that like we're worried about overpopulation and population control. The Earth expands to accommodate all its inhabitants. Doesn't that make sense?
Yeah.
It's a living consciousness.
Yeah. It certainly makes sense. As you know, the sort of the grounding for just about all my work is based on the principle that life is designed to work, which would certainly make sense that the Earth, being part, integral to life, would be designed
Which is
to
the
work.
name of Jane's book, by the way. Life is Designed to Work is her book.
Thank you for the plug.
You're welcome. I got to do that. And I want you to put it into the chat when you get a chance to, again.
Jane, can you tell us a little bit more? Because I've never met you before, and I bet there's probably a lot of people, of course, like me as well, who don't know your background. Tell me a little bit your background in your book.
Well, I am a lifelong seeker. Let's see. I've developed a thought system based on the principle that life is designed to work, and
I love that.
I've gone through a lot to come to that conclusion. To finally, at one point, after a lot of different kinds of experiences, I'm an NLP and timeline master practitioner. NLP stands for Neuro Linguistic Programming.
I'm a master practitioner as well.
Welcome. I studied with Dr. Tad James. You're probably familiar with him.
I also did a little bit of study with him, but I studied under Tony Robbins, and so Tony Robbins brought Tad James and a bunch of those folks into his training programs back. This is back in the late 80s.
Yeah.
But yes.
Yeah. So, I was in a very dysfunctional spiritual community for 22 years, basically a cult, in which I learned a lot about what causes life not to work. And to save my sort of soul or life, I had to come into the present moment in order to not be sucked into it and finally gain the strength to leave. And then I studied A Course in Miracles just intensely for 2 years because I was in such a wreck afterwards. I was separated from mainstream life, mainstream perspective on reality for those 22 years. And so when I left the spiritual community, realizing how dysfunctional it was, and I was sort of in limbo, not how to orient my life. And so I started studying A Course in Miracles as sort of a way to build a positive experience of reality, or something to orient myself around that was positive. And then I found out about NLP and timeline, which, basically the premise, they don't say it, but the premise really is that life is designed to work, especially the timeline. Timeline therapy is based on the idea that what causes your life not to work is limiting decisions, distorting your experience of reality. And it's not the nature of life or anything else.
Yes, that was so well said. Yes.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yes.
So when I came out of, and that's what I do. So when I came out of those experiences and finished my training and started seeing clients, I was standing on the principle that life is designed to work. And I don't know, I didn't do it consciously or purposefully, I was. I don't know. It just seems like a soul level decision. And when I actually start.
Life is designed to work.
Yes.
Life is designed to work.
Doesn't it make sense? It just makes sense.
So everything else you interpret from that point of view. So I didn't know it was to be true until until I started working with clients who obviously come to see me because their life's not working in some way or another. So what I do is I get to the bottom of sort of, I don't know, I come into the present moment with them and get to the root of what's causing their life not to work, which is usually a conglomerate of limiting decisions, such as I'm a failure, I'm not good enough, people can't be trusted. It can be about yourself or the nature of the world outside of yourself. Now, I know
Trauma too.
well,
Trauma,
trauma is often where
that part of it.
that's usually where limiting decisions are for.
It's
It's not what your
inherent.
mother or your father, it's not what they
It's
did to you, even if they were physically cruel, because that doesn't last for long, the pain of that. What does last forever until you do something, to change it, is the limiting decisions that you formed in that context. You formed it on an unconscious level. And such as I'm bad, or I'm good for nothing, or people can't be trusted, or whatever it is. That's what caused the damage, the limiting decision. And you did it to yourself on an unconscious level.
You made a decision about life and the world and yourself in a moment, and then it became self-fulfilling.
Right, because it's locked in the unconscious mind.
I
Mm-hmm.
love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
Mm-hmm.
I want to just draw a quick line on over to your work too, Tess, because one of the things that I'm not sure if admire is quite the right word, but I'm going to use it. One of the things that I admire about you so much is all the work that you've done, to overcome, the challenges of having grown up in a Holocaust surviving family.
Yeah, that's sort of amazing.
And your willingness to speak about it with, what seems like, very little energy and everything. And I don't know, just something that's super powerful about that. And, it really touches me every time I hear you, just kind of reaffirm just, the family that you've come from. I mean, you're probably the only person maybe that I even know that, that knows that from a lived experience. And so one of the things that, that I bring oftentimes to, to the clients when I work with is oftentimes I believe that things happen to us, traumas sometimes happen to us that set in a seed, a spark of its opposite, and we become inspired. And I see you that way, Tess. I see that you're so inspired to bring peace, and yet at the same time, you've come from the experience you've come from, and your parents had the experience that they had, and it's kind of a shared experience in terms of this larger thing of trauma, because sometimes I go into this measurement thing, like, how big is your trauma? Is it is it as big as somebody else's?
It's funny that you're. Go ahead, finish. Go ahead.
It's just what I do, but it's my smoothing edge. I'm smoothing that edge off because I've come to see that I guess there are extremes of trauma, right? But at the same time, trauma is trauma. And I honestly, I believe that trauma is part of the human experience. It's the imperfection. That's what I believe, that being human, is that we're imperfect. I think that is the way it is. And I think that's part of, what we have to do here, which is whatever is put in front of us, if we're called to face those traumas, those demons, and overcome them, that's what releases peace into the world, or whatever it might be that we're called to
Amen.
bring.
Amen. I think that it's kind of like a Mission Impossible. It's like your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to come to Earth as this, into this dysfunctional family and have these wounds and these traumas, and then like Houdini, like get yourself out of all of it. It's like it's like too peaceful and sublime in the heavenly realms, and we get bored, so we want to come down and into this world of contrast and bang around a little bit. But I wanted to comment that you said that comparing traumas. And when my mother was still living, and I would talk about her, to other people that are on a healing path, I would say that my mother had the best worst story. And I remember being like riding on it a little bit as a little kid, not really knowing better. It's like, people would talk about their families and they went through this and they went through that. And I would say, well, my parents were Holocaust survivors. And it was like, I won, I won. But I think, like from a unfortunate, it's painful, and I give her all the compassion in the world, but what that cultivated in my mother was a narcissism to where everybody should have the most compassion for her, but she didn't necessarily have as much compassion for everybody else because they didn't go through what she went through.
Yeah.
And yet,
That's
but for
that's
me, it made me an empath with such a capacity because of experiencing so much
Yeah.
pain.
That's
And
beautiful. Very beautiful. Yeah.
that it's like I'm not afraid of anybody else's pain. It's like bring it. I can hold it. I
yeah.
can
Yeah.
hold it. I have the capacity because I was
Yeah.
trained I was trained by a master. What I would like to do is just read, there's been like a backlog of comments here, if I can just, and then we'll come back.
Okay. Could,
Uh,
yeah.
yeah, go
Because
ahead.
I'd
Go
like to
ahead.
make
You
a
go
comment
first.
about.
Yeah, go.
Okay.
Go ahead. You first.
I think the issue is what you use as your plumb line. I use that word a lot in my book. It's what you orient your sense of reality around. Are you ordering it around a larger source, divine source, larger truth, or are you orienting it around this snide con man that somebody made, or this injustice? Whatever you orient your sense of reality around, you're letting some dysfunctional person define your reality for you, or some dysfunctional system or situation define your reality for you. You always have a choice of what to orient yourself around. And
Amen.
moment by
Yeah.
moment, you have a choice, because that's
Yeah.
the only thing that obviously that exists for any of us is the present moment. And what are you
Yeah.
going to orient yourself around?
Yes, I agree. The question that I ask myself regularly is, who am I being in the face of this particular situation?
Yeah,
Am I being a version of myself that I'm proud of, that is setting a standard for how we treat one another, or am I sort of defaulting into a bitter battle that nobody is going to win? And so it's like, yeah, each and every one. I mean, that's when you talk about responsibility, Gio.
yeah,
To me, it's like I have to take responsibility for being the kind of person that I want to be in the world, and not drop into sort of some petty competitive way of being, adversarial way of being with other people. So I would consider
and if you
that to
would,
be a divine birthright. Ooh,
and if you want to go even deeper into
Can
that,
I read
you
one of the
what's
comments here?
that?
Can I read one of the
Please
comments
do.
here?
Go ahead.
So this is from Anna Louise. It's so on point. So trauma is not overcome; it is processed and integrated. The process is a very specific, and one of the parts of that process is co-regulation through relationship.
yeah,
We heal in
yeah,
relationship, and I feel that we are doing that right
yeah.
now.
Amen. I
And that's what I was
agree.
just about to say, something similarly. When it comes up, it is a miraculous opportunity for transformation. Is that when you acknowledge
Yes.
how you're truly responding, even if you think it's maybe, especially when you think it's dysfunctional, and you're sort of relating back and forth, letting the person see into your soul, and because what you're doing is choosing connection rather than winning.
Well, and that
Yes.
requires a certain amount of
Yes.
spiritual awareness that,
Yeah,
it's like it is beholden to the person who recognizes human interaction as an opportunity for healing and growth, that is responsible to bring that to the party, because maybe the other person has never experienced that before and is used to fighting for everything, you know and so it's like the one of us that is the most connected to that at any given moment is the one responsible for bringing it to that place. I mean, I had a thing with a friend recently. We'd had a falling out some months ago, and it seemed irreconcilable, and and um, and then it was kind of like, okay, peace does not necessarily mean kumbaya among everyone. It means live and let live, and not every puzzle piece in the mandala is meant to be beside each other. It's like, even though we may look like we fit next to each other, we keep trying to put that piece back and it doesn't go, and there keeps being friction. So maybe it's not about us, endlessly sitting at the negotiation table trying to hash it out. It's about us saying, you know what? I recognize you as a divine being, and I wish you all the blessing in the world, and I need to go hang out with people that it's just easier for me to be with. And then
Yes.
and then after that, within a very short while, she started reaching out to me, sort of from a very neutral place, and this part of me was like, why are you reaching out to me? We don't get along. Like, what? Why? Just let this thing go already. But I was so intrigued by like her continuous return to neutrality that I felt like she's calling me forth to rise to the occasion. So
Yeah.
if she's going to keep showing up, then even though I'm still harboring certain kind of like these feelings, it's like, well, then I'm going to come forward too. So
Yeah.
I'm saying it's like
Good for you.
we're not always the we. I know, falling apart again, but the point is that we are all role modeling all the time. We're role modeling all the time. So not necessarily expect it from the other person, but to show up the way, be the peace we want to see in the world, be the negotiator we want to see, be the compassionate, the empathetic. You know what I'm saying? It's like it's on. Everything is a mirror. Everything is a mirror. So if we're not liking what we're seeing in the mirror, we have to change the projector. We have to change who we're being to get a different reflection.
Right.
Yeah. What I heard from what you just said too, I mean, that what you just described to me is the perfect description of transformation. And it's a very non-logical process oftentimes. And I have to say, I think that's one of the reasons why the yin is so good at this. And I'm not going to say women, I'm going to say yin, which is the non-logical, it's the non-logical side, because like you kind of expressed, like it didn't make any sense, right? But you are able to, to step forward and to be present. And then it sounds like, a transformation just happened there. And I love that.
I think the transformation happens when you stand in the present moment long enough to recognize what you truly want. So
Yes.
rather than winning the power struggle, which is at the heart of almost any conflict that I can think of my view of things is right. There's usually protecting their own limiting decisions. And who's going to define reality, my substitute world or your substitute world? And this is language from my book, so sorry.
It's super good. I define this that my language would be, I would call all of what you're describing spiritual logic.
Yeah, it definitely is. In fact,
yeah.
Another way that I was thinking of defining my thought system, and maybe I should write a book from that standpoint, is spiritual physics.
Love that.
Because
I call it non-logical transformation. That's the word that I use.
Well, you just come into truth. It's just truth. It's what's true. But the thing is, it is quite logical if you really get down to it.
Well, I would say that like everything, this is what I say actually, and what I believe, which is that everything is both true and not true, always. Anything that you can bring up is both true and not true if you're going to logically, debate it or whatever. But there's the realm of the non-logical, which I would describe that as what you were saying, Tess, in terms of the world is perfectly designed, and it's perfectly designed to, you know, to meet all needs. But it's completely not logical. There's no logic to that, you know.
I feel like
Because
there is logic. I
Yeah.
think because it's like if we look into nature, you know, there is a perfection in the changing of the seasons and the vegetation that grows in different seasons and different climates, and the sun rises and the sun sets and the tide goes in and the tide goes out. There's a lot of logic in that in creation.
Yeah, it's definitely
Sis,
about logic
say,
because we have. Oh, I'm sorry, Tess. Go
go
ahead.
ahead. No, I was just going to mention
We
say sacred geometry, but keep going. It's yeah.
we have needs, fundamental needs, and we have physical needs, we have emotional needs, we have spiritual needs, such as we have the need for connection. We have the physical needs, we have the need to eat and have shelter and so on. If I explain it pretty well in my book, it's complex and I'm not sure if I can explain it right now, but our needs basically lead us eventually. I mean, and I haven't been keeping track of the news for quite a while, but one of the ways I would describe it is the Russian-Israeli thing, where the Russians are sending all their young men to come into Israel to fight and be killed and so on. And then the mother is protesting because, you know, that's just against need. It's against human need. You do things that are against human nature and it's not going to work. There's just fundamental truth. It's true that people don't want to die. They don't want to hurt. They don't want to starve.
well, some people do want to die. People want to die.
That's true.
That's not the nature of people. If in a particular circumstance they may go against their nature as a desperate act, people do all kinds of things against their nature because of limiting decisions they've made, because of distortions of reality. But if you come into present moment reality, into what you really truly need, there's a difference between substitute desires and real desires. Real desires are things such as love, connection, happiness, joy, being successful. Substitute desires is when you don't believe that you can receive what you can't receive love because you made a limiting decision that you're not lovable. Then you go after comfort food or trying to control other people or feel
drugs
powerless
or whatever.
or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So people go after substitute desires, which the universe does not support because it takes you away from life. Anything that takes you away from life is ultimately not going to work. Now that's spiritual physics. That's truth, because it's just not the nature of how life works. But if you follow the way life actually works, what actually moves you forward, it leads to love. It leads to consciousness, truth, inspiration, all the different gateways to the divine. I probably
Same with truth.
Yeah,
Same with
truth.
truth and transparency. It's like
Intelligence leads to truth.
life doesn't work if we're out of integrity.
Exactly. So you have to. Truth is essential. If you ignore truth, you can't make things work. I mean,
And
there's
sometimes we've been lying for so long that we don't even know that we're lying, and we don't understand
right,
why life isn't working, right? But we're
right.
completely
But
out of
it
whack with our
leads,
true needs and
and
desires,
that
yeah.
leads to despair and anxiety and depression,
And
and
anger
sometimes
and resentment.
anger. Right.
Mm-hmm.
I also have to, you know, just chime in to say that, you know, what is true for a person changes over time, and sometimes it can be diametrically opposite. Like where in one moment in life or one point in life, a person could have a certain truth, and then, you know, through, again, you know, I would say, you know, non-logical circumstances, then end up taking the exact opposite thing to become, you know, become the truth.
Can you say more? Could you elaborate on that? I didn't quite follow you.
So that any of us can have something that can be true to us, like so like you were in a spiritual cult at one point, and I'm sure when you were in that cult, like that was completely true for you and felt like the truth and everything, but then something shifted, and then another truth became the new truth. And so that's what I say, like, I don't really believe that there is, that there is any one truth.
Well,
I believe that all things can be both true and untrue.
just because I
and
believed it was true doesn't make it true.
Even at the very same time. What's that?
Just because I believed it was true doesn't mean it was true. And also,
well, it was true for you.
But
it was true for you, and that's all that really matters.
It evolved.
What actually happened is I took the whole situation extremely seriously. I was told by the spiritual leader that I was a bad person and that I needed to save my soul. That's how the cults work. And a lot of people, so some people were deemed good and some people were deemed bad, and the good people had to serve, the bad people had to serve the good people and be ordered around by them and so on. I took it very seriously and explored with all my might to understand how I was bad. And I followed it down to the depths and examined everything, and I couldn't find it. And then at some point I realized, oh, I'm running around in circles. I'm not going forward anymore. This is just a dead end. And so then I started changing. I started, okay, and I realized, oh, I'm angry all the time and acting angry. Okay, well, why are you angry? I'm angry because I'm doing things that I don't want to be doing and I don't believe in it. I stopped doing them. I started setting boundaries for myself. I started saying, okay, you are not allowed to publicly or in any way say that I am a bad person. I'm not.
Did you do that when you were in the cult, or after?
Yes, when I was in it, when I was in it, I stared drawing boundaries for myself. I started. It was
How did that work? Go over. How did that work?
I remember at some point the sort of second in command was saying to me that I was moving too fast for them. Because what I was. The group was starting to fall apart at that point. People were leaving, but it wound up. I did eventually leave on my own terms, but it was very empowering for me, and I was in complete integrity in how I handled it. I felt, so I was just coming into the present. I was seeing, okay, what I thought was true is not true, because I tried it and it wasn't working. I tried it with all my might to do it. I was in great states of despair for feeling as though I had failed numerous times. And this always makes me cry, so I can't help it.
Deep breath.
At one point, I made a deal with God, which to me is sort of ridiculous. It's a way of putting things, but that's how it felt.
I've done that. I've done that. Keep going.
I said, if you get me through this, I will help other people get through this kind of thing. And from that point on, I had more and more conviction that I was meant to be a healer until I was. That's really how I came to be where I am right now, really, because
well, it sounds to me like you entered into a state of grace at that point. It was like a surrender to the divine, to the
Yeah.
And at that point, it was like grace entered your experience.
Well.
Also sounds like you found your calling.
Oh, absolutely.
Through that experience.
I couldn't be doing what I'm doing now if I hadn't gone through that experience. It made me so strong, so much stronger, because here's a very strong mother figure, I don't know. But
I didn't imagine it as a woman. That's so interesting.
Yeah, she was a woman, yeah.
We all want to know. We all want to know what the group was. But we don't want to ask.
Well, the group doesn't exist anymore. It was called Center for the Examined Life. And the leader of the group no longer is alive. She doesn't live now. But
Okay. Okay.
her oldest daughter, I'm still in contact with. In fact, we have a group that meets twice a month with the 3 others of former group members. And we've become close friends. And discussing what happened in the group was part of it. And the middle daughter was profoundly autistic. I took care of her for that whole time, and incredibly beautiful, deep soul, and didn't speak, was suicidal. I went through so much with her that I started writing, I'm talking too much, writing music because of her. Anyway, I learned empathy.
Anna says, go ahead. Go ahead. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Go ahead. I just got excited. Keep going. Keep going.
I learned the only way to communicate with her was through empathy and intuition. And I was very, very motivated to relate to her. And so I really gained a lot of skills in those areas, which enables me to work with people well now.
Mm-hmm. Anna, I'm sorry that I missed about a lot of comments, and I think Rebecca had some in there too. But here, Anna says,
I'll stop hogging the.
Wait. You found your purpose. She's talking to you, Jane, and in that you set yourself free and connected with those who need your medicine.
Yes. Yes.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
See, that's the thing. It's like I don't know if I've mentioned it before. The book Pronoia by Rob Bresney. And like we have the word paranoia, which is everybody is against us, and he came up with the word pronoia, which means the universe is always conspiring on your behalf. So so everything that we experience, even though sometimes it can be painful and challenging. In fact, it's so funny because I don't know where I got this the other day.
But you have to let it in, though. You have to let it in. That's the trick.
I've been saying for the last couple of days, everything that shows up as adversity in my life is I must need this. Yes. I must need this. And it changes everything because it immediately shifts me into that receptive mode rather than trying to push against it. But it's like, okay, this is happening now too. I'm just going to absorb it and transmute it.
There's something super powerful testing what you just said too, which is that you do it immediately. And so something comes up, maybe it's resistance or whatever it might be, something that seems to be bad, but you immediately ask like, what's in that?
What does this mean?
And that's a very powerful, very powerful practice. You probably take that for granted.
Oh no, I don't. I absolutely don't.
Well, what I mean is that like you think that everybody just does that, but that's quite it's a very powerful practice because when you really do it, and I don't know what your process is with it, but for me because I do a very similar thing too. There's a process to it. There's maybe some journaling for me or meditation, and then wanting to get to the to where the perfection is. Where is this little bit of annoyance or friction, or could be a big annoyance, or it could be a big level of danger. Where is that leading to the divine birthright, or the divine way that things are meant to be. I believe that the adversity, I think maybe, I don't know if you're saying it this way, but I'll say it how I say it, but that adversity is designed for the purpose of us learning and actually teaching consciousness more about itself. I think that is the reason for adversity, and I don't believe that we have to be stuck in that adversity. It's only how we look at that adversity, right? And so I'm saying that what you just said is that's a superpower, because if a person does that, or even if a group does that, right? If let's say a group of people, does that, let's say the police, decide all of a sudden to go I wonder why everybody hates us so much. I wonder why that is.
We must need this, right?
Yeah.
We must need this reflection. Yeah.
They kind of do. They kind of do need it, and maybe they do need that person, that is in their face with the camera, because there is a thing that has to be worked out in terms of like, what are we allowed to to videotape, what's an intrusion on other people's rights. So that adversity, if it's looked at that way, and again, you can do it personally, but you can also do it as a team, as a group, as a country,
Right.
To me, it's very
as a
exciting.
leadership board.
It's very exciting, the idea of doing it as a group. Very, very exciting.
Yes.
Evolution is a team sport.
For me, when adversity hits me, and I had lots and lots of it, and I do this just regularly anyway, even if when I'm not facing adversity, it's just ask God, what's the way forward? Every day I'm asking God, what is the way forward? Show me. Show me the way forward. Show me the way forward.
How do you receive a response?
Well, one really amazing that occurred, and Tess, you're part of this, is that I really want to live in a spiritual community. Well, I mean, let's see how I put it. I was talking about, and I need a stable place to live. The place I'm living in right now is relatively stable, but eventually the person's probably going to sell the house. And having a stable place to live has been a challenge for me for quite a while. And I wrote a poem about which Tess, you actually responded to. At the end of the poem, it was not related to that, but sort of how I was moving through the trigger or something like that. Oh, getting to what matters. Getting to what matters, and with me working through some triggers I have with my housemate, who's also my landlord, and getting to a place of, well, anyway, at the end I said, that's all well and fine, but how do I find a stable place to live? At any rate, it became clear to me, and I had sort of Facebook dialogues, that what I want to live in a heart and spiritually connected community. And I was trying to figure out how I can do that, and everything that I tried to do didn't seem like a possibility. And then Tess invited me to this group, which is a spiritual community. It's not physically based, but it's a spiritual community. And then recently somebody else invited me to their group, which is also a spiritual community. and I wrote a poem about, I'm stepping more and more and expanding into spiritual community. That's just, it's just, I just put it out there that this is what I'm desiring, and I'm asking myself every day, or asking God, okay, show me the way forward. Show me the way forward. Every day, show me the way forward. Because clearly, I don't have control, which, thank God, I've learned to accept that.
Well, and yet you do have control over your I am power. So you get you get to declare,
right,
I am in a spiritual community. I am in a safe place. I live in a safe place. It's your choice. It's like because everything is energy, and time is an illusion. And so if we energetically put ourselves into that feeling place of having that thing that we desire in the future now, then it is easier for us to connect and draw it to us, because we're already an energetic match to it.
Right.
Yes. 100% agree.
I do.
High five. High five.
I do that. Yeah. I actually have right in front of me on my wall, I desire to live in a loving, stable home where I belong and valued and divinely guided, can move forward in my life, out in the world, and in fellowship with those I live with. That's right there.
Beautiful. I would substitute out the word desire with I am living in. Choose it now, as out there in front of you.
Well, for some reason, that doesn't have the energy that me putting in desire in there does.
I mean, the word desire is a good desire because it means of the Father.
Yeah.
And that which, basically, Einstein said, not in these words, but that which we desire desires us. So
Yeah.
what you want
Yes.
is for you.
Yeah.
For sure. I just want to put it out there. I'm happy to continue talking to the both of you. And if anybody else would like to come on, if you indicate it in the chat or you put in a request to join the call, I will know about it. And then I can, invite one or both of these lovely people to step out so you can come in. Because I don't think we can go to three guests, but we could try. We could try to add
Four.
somebody or see what we can have. Four.
I think you could go to four. I'm pretty certain.
Besides
Yeah.
me, four, or me and three more?
You and three
Okay,
more.
well, if
So
anybody wants to come
four.
on, let's see if we can get you in. This is fun. I like
Okay.
it.
Yeah.
So good. So good. I want to also just kind of echo back to what this talk about the perfect place to live and everything, because I know it's something that it's quite a common challenge. Tess, you've just gone through it for a few years, whatever. I've gone through it. There's millions of homeless people on the streets right now, and so the thing I want to bring voice to is I do believe that we are in we're in pioneering times, and so what does that perfect home look like? It could be it's very different, and I kind of hope that it is very different, because I'm in the Scottsdale area right now, and I do all my work online, so I don't really drive that much, but I just drove down south to pick up a table, and I was like, oh man, there's like a friggin' sea of these little individual
Oops, what happened?
homes.
What do you mean? We got you.
And
We have you.
we got you. We can hear you. Yeah, but there's like a sea of individual homes just like spreading. It's like that's not sustainable. That's not. That's just not even good.
Mm-hmm.
It's like we're all so separated in the way that the environment is designed. And I know, Tess, you've got some, designers in your community. Leah is, a designer of sorts with her feng shui work. And, I've been a landscape architect and planner for 20
Wow.
years. And so all I'm saying is that what it might look like might be very different. And I believe that we all share kind of in this challenge of finding this thing, because this thing is it's a challenge to get to, because it probably is new structures, even new building types, like new environments. And so we are the pioneers in this way. And it's not easy, but you're not alone is one of the things I want to say. And I also, want to say that, Tess, what you were saying, like, that we attract, right? What we wants us. And so let's want more of, a truly, sustainable and spiritual way, and a way that really supports us living. I think that we've got a journey to get there. It's a journey.
Truly. And what has been coming up for me a lot lately is the biblical quote, and ye shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever. And I have
Yeah,
been
that's beautiful.
I have been like claiming I dwell in the house of the Lord. Like I've declared this an inner peace sanctuary, right? And so if that and one of the attributes of aligning with the divine is that peace that surpasseth understanding. So it defies logic, because
Yeah.
it goes beyond what the circumstances may be in our
Yes.
experience of practical reality. And it's like everybody is freaking out and chaotic, and you're walking around feeling safe and feeling peaceful and and feeling good, and people are like, what are you on, what's wrong with you? But it's like that is our birthright. We have the ability to cultivate that choice, that I dwell in the house of the Lord forever, period. That's it. I'm choosing
Yes.
that. I'm
100%.
choosing
Yeah,
it.
100%.
I, I've
100%.
definitely chosen that. Yeah,
I'm choosing it.
yeah,
I'm choosing it.
Two
yeah.
or
I'm
more.
definitely.
Hallelujah.
There's
Hallelujah.
three of us, man. This is powerful because there's more than two.
There's
There's three.
three. There's three, which is the smallest community. What I learned about community building is the smallest stable community is three, because you need at least
Yes.
three legs to a
You gotta
chair or
have
a
at least
table
three.
to make it stand. So, hallelujah,
You
we
gotta
did
have at least three.
it. It's so good.
I relate so much, Tess, to what you just said and how I relate to it. And I'll just, just quickly and briefly just explain how I actually physically relate to the environment. Is that I have come to the place, also having gone through, challenges, years of challenges and this and that. And in the place where I am right now is what you just said, which is, I feel at home. I am at home everywhere that I am. Everywhere that I am at home. And so this is going to sound maybe crazy, maybe not, but I don't have a home anymore. But I live in the most beautiful locations because I've given up the the aim of I need to have a physical home that belongs to me. And now, I mean, it's partially been enabled through the work that I do because I work online, so I can be anywhere. But even as I was building up what I do right now and having the ability, um, it was the challenge, and I've come to this place where I am at home wherever I am, and it can be anywhere. I was 2 years kind of living in my van, and and man, I came to
I loved
love
it too when
that.
I lived in my van. I did that for 2 years.
I
Yeah.
loved it, and I've got this crazy thing going on right now because there's part of me that's like, oh, you should get yourself, a luxury car. You can afford it. People will be impressed that you have it. Blah blah blah. I like the comfort of it. That's probably the real desire for me. The well-designed vehicles, whatever. But I'm like, I love my van. If I got like a luxury car, I would want to drive my
Right,
van.
right, right,
I
right.
love I love my van. I can stop and take a little nap anywhere I am. I can go out into nature, take a hike, and take a nap if I want to. I can anything. But anyways, I wanted to share that because it can look very different and be amazing.
Yes.
I mean, I truly have.
And I think what you're describing
Yeah.
right now is bringing us into alignment with my original intent for talking about your divine birthright. This is what I'm talking about, is that you have the right to feel peaceful. You have the right to feel safe. You have the right to feel free. That is your God-given inalienable right. We have been programmed away from that. We put it outside ourselves, and our stability is dependent upon our financial profile, where we're getting to live. But you're demonstrating that you are, you dwell in the house of the Lord. Your home is with you wherever you are, and
Yes.
that is
Yes.
your
Yes.
birthright. That's what I'm talking about.
Yes. Yes, and I'll give the yang version of it because I think this is probably
Okay.
true, which is that I feel it's my responsibility to choose that, and
Beautiful.
for
Me
me, I
too.
feel like it's an active
Me
process.
too. Yes,
Yeah, yeah,
100%.
it's an active process. I don't have to spend every day all day, focused on choosing that. But if like there was a moment in time, I think when I first was in my van where I was like, before the van, I had, a big house and it was all comfortable and everything. And then I had the van and I'm like, ah, you know, but I did a little bit of work with one of you wonderful healing people. And this woman, she magically, non-logically made me fall in love and my van fall in love with me. And that's what I'm saying. I love my van so much. I don't even really want a luxury car. I like my
Well, I
van.
mean, it's kind of like the secret that people that have never lost their home and lived in their vehicle don't know, because from their
Yes.
perspective, it's like the most horrible thing next to having no
Yes.
car and just being on the street
Yes.
that they can imagine. But the paring down life to just the basic simplicity and is and the freedom of it is and the humility. It's like when you realize how little that you actually need. So
Yes.
then it makes like all the window dressing, it's all nice, but we don't need to be attached to any of it.
Sure. Yeah, you could have it, you could not have it. It
No,
doesn't matter. But what does matter is choosing to be in the kingdom of heaven. Is that
always.
what you say?
Yes.
Yeah. And your point about the about coming to understand that, how I came to choose, and I did choose, the van, and I chose it because I had been watching, well, two things. My daughter went off to college, so I didn't need to have a home. I didn't need to, provide for somebody else. But had been watching this woman who chose to live in her car in a Walmart parking lot, and she's doing all these videos about it. I'm sure you've all maybe seen these if you're at all, YouTube watcher. But I was like, man, that is so friggin' fascinating. And she didn't even have a van, so a van compared to a car is
Totally.
luxury.
Absolutely,
But
totally.
she was doing it, and she chose to do it, and I learned a ton, from watching her. And then I started watching the van people with their vans, and I'm like, I want to give
I
that a
feel like
try.
I feel like it's made me a much better person.
Same,
Much better. Yeah.
same,
Hmm.
yeah, yeah. And I have to mention this as well, which I'll have to post a picture of my total belongings. Because every now and then, like when I travel to Mexico, I was in Mexico for a couple of months just recently, so I, put most of my things into a storage unit. But it could fit into a station wagon, so all of my belongings could fit into a station wagon easily right now, and I love that. I freaking love that.
Wow. Wow.
No moving of stuff, no stuff moving.
It's so much simpler. It's just so basic. Life becomes so basic and
So if that's true, it does cause me to beg the question a little bit more. Like, I think the environments, let's say built environments that would really support us, would probably be quite different than how we envision it now. And I see it kind of happening. Like, it's like, particularly in Mexico, many of the places, they're brand new buildings there, in Playa del Carmen anyways. And they're very small studios, but they're fully equipped. They got everything you need. They got a little kitchen. They got a wonderful place to sleep. They got a big window that opens out and a balcony, but they're
hmm
studios. They're really small. They're like 600 square feet, 500 square feet.
well, my problem is that I mean, I go from like really adoring silence and quiet to having a visceral need to be really loud.
Same
And I
here.
can't do that when I can't do that when I'm like worried about disturbing neighbors, you know?
I can do it. I can do it in my building that I'm in right now, because it's a in Scottsdale. A lot of the buildings are built out of block and
Okay.
brick. And so the place that I'm in right now is a little bit bigger. It's a two bedroom apartment, but it's in a little small complex, probably built in the
Hmm.
50s. But the walls are so thick, and the buildings in Mexico were the same way too. When they're built out of
Yeah.
concrete, then even a small place. I'm just like you, Tess. In the morning, I'm chanting at the top of my lungs.
Yeah. I mean, it's like one of the first things I look at when I look at it when I was house hunting is, can I be loud here? You know, can I be
Yeah.
loud here? So Kennedy is saying I have to start looking for a new home for Roberta and I, that's his cat. Rebecca says, me three, my truck auto life, and she's got three dogs, I think. Kennedy says inflation is out of control. No wonder there are so much homelessness on the streets of San Diego. Yeah, and I would say that it's not just a physical problem, it's a spiritual problem because people don't realize their worth and they don't realize their connection to source. And so you got two dogs, okay. And so um, And so they feel themselves outside of grace. They don't feel like grace shines upon them. They don't feel worthy of it. And so that's that distorted reality that you're talking about, Jane. It's like a distorted sense of
Yeah.
It's like for me, spiritual logic is, if we exist, then the intelligence that animates us must want us here, and therefore we're worthy. It's like as simple as
Yes.
that.
Yes. Yes. And whatever challenge, trauma, or adversity we've been through, the opposite of that is often what we're called to bring into the world.
Right. And so it's a matter of realizing, and it's like wherever our journey takes us, the opportunity to awaken is always there, wherever that is. Yeah.
Always.
Yeah.
Every moment.
The theory behind the living decisions, I'm not sure where I got this, probably from a number of different sources, is that on a soul level, we decide before we come in the limiting decisions that we're going to make, because it takes us down. Like if we're particularly interested in the subject of good versus bad, we might make a limiting decision that we're bad, or male versus. There's certain particular areas that the soul's interested in learning about, evolving themselves more, and so they create challenges in this lifetime for the purpose of expanding their consciousness in those areas. So in other words, by the time you work through a limiting decision and get to the other end of it, you are far richer, more expanded as a soul than you would have been if you had never made it in the first place.
Sure. That makes sense. Of course. Yeah. Yeah.
You learn compassion. You can understand. You can recognize in another person. You can see beneath the camouflage. I couldn't have written my book if I had been able to just clear my limiting decisions like I can for other people.
Right.
So good.
Yes.
Well, Tess, I'm gonna jump off, and I'm wondering if there will be any singing. If you feel calling, I always love hearing you singing.
Thank you. Well, I can do one is coming to me right now.
And also, before you get off, I can tell you where you can find my book. You were asking about that.
Well, why don't you
Yes.
pop it into type it into the chat so everybody can.
I can't seem to access that anymore, maybe because there's too many chats there.
No, because we're on it live. As soon as as you jump off of it, you'll see it again. It's because there's three of us on screen right now.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So
I'd love to hear you
I'm,
sing. Yeah. I'd love to
Thank
hear
you.
you sing.
Well, I think what I'm going to do is my song "Awakening" because of the lyrics of mine. I love when Gio speaks my lyrics and doesn't know he's doing it. I feel so aligned. So this is called "Awakening." All that I be is a hologram, a thought manifest in the great I am, here for one flash of eternity, one wave on the shore of an endless sea. I am one with all that is, body, mind, and soul. I am here as peace on earth, one facet of the whole. I deserve to live my life just dancing to the beat. I deserve to be myself with everyone I meet. I deserve to give myself the sun, the moon, the sea. I deserve to see myself in every he and she. I deserve to have it all, yes, every blessed thing. I deserve to have it now, Lord, listen to me sing. And I allow it now, Lord, I allow it now. I allow it now, Lord, I allow it now. Every thought I ever thunk, I need to think anew, to rid my mind of all the junk that kept me apart from you. There's nothing out of bounds, dear Lord, outside your sweet embrace. No woman, man, or creature can sacrifice their place. You live in me and I in you forever and beyond. Through birth and death, in every breath, eternal is our bond. 'Cause I deserve to have it and all, yes, every blessed thing. I deserve to have it now, Lord, hear me when I sing. And I allow it now, Lord, I allow it now. I allow it now, Lord, I allow it now. All that I be is a hologram, a thought manifest in the great I am. Here for one flash of eternity, one wave on the shore of an endless sea. You live in me and I in you forever and beyond. Through birth and death, in every breath, eternal is our bond. The only sin in life I know is when I doubt you're near. The only fool thing I could do is spend my time in fear. So I deserve to have it now, yes, every blessed thing. I deserve to have it all, Lord, listen to me sing. And I allow it now, Lord, I allow it now. I allow it now, Lord, I allow it now. I've got one body to care for, one mind, one heart. I got just thee to be there for, so leave me to my part. And I allow it now, Lord, I allow it now. I allow it now, Lord, I allow it now. I allow it now. All that I be is a hologram, a thought manifest in the great I am. Here for one flash of eternity, one wave on the shore of an endless sea, one splash on the shore of an endless sea, one crash on the shore of an endless sea.
Hey.
Yay!
So good. So
Thank you,
good.
thank you, thank you. So thank you for being here. Thank you both for participating. This has been
Thank you,
so
Tess. Thank
incredibly,
you.
incredibly rich. And I hope you come back again. I'm thinking, Gio, and I'd love your thoughts about this. I'm thinking rather than creating the Voices of the Global Awakening group page, that what will make more sense is if I bring this into my Universal Temple of Expanding Consciousness group that's been around for more than 10 years, and I launch Voices of the Global Awakening Tuesdays with Tess inside of that group, and that way people are
Yeah.
joining in there, and maybe
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, you can do that. You can also, rebrand that group as well to be the Voices of Global Awakening, because that's such a great brand name. It's such a good name.
yeah, I just have such a large group over there that I kind of
Yeah, you've already got
Yeah,
them.
so I'm thinking about doing that because I'm just, I mean, I'm sort of like slow to change because there's something easy about this, but I definitely think it maybe
Yeah.
because people aren't getting any notifications at this point, and it's just me posting about it a couple of days before, and then whatever happens, happens. So
Yeah.
anyway, that's the
Yeah.
thought I'm having. And for those of you who are watching and have been hanging in, and if you haven't had an opportunity to look at the description, at the top where I'm listing all the different groups that you can join. You can go to Spotify and you can follow my music ministry there. And there's all sorts of cash apps if you felt inspired to make some sort of a love offering to support what I'm doing. And I also have offerings outside of this. I'm doing one-on-one coaching. I've got room for a couple of more clients that I could work with. I've launched something called a Slow Queen Retreat, if that intrigues you. It's a kind of a nervous system reset retreat and dropping into
So
that
good.
space. So these are ways to connect if you resonate with my energy, and let's see if we can collaborate with each other. That would be amazing. In the meantime, I
I love it.
intend to be back next week with episode number 42.
I'm going to jump
Okay.
off here, Tess, and let you have the full view
Okay,
here,
much
okay?
love to you.
Love to
Yeah,
you.
good to see you. Take
Nice
care.
meeting you, Gio.
Yeah, it's nice.
Okay, so we have 1 minute left, and I want to thank you again so much, Jane. I'm so glad that you discovered these calls and that you are enthusiastic to participate, because you have vast wisdom to share, and I
Oh,
really,
thank
really
you.
appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Yeah. So
I plan
again,
to
next
be
week,
here. Yeah, I plan to be there next week.
okay, 5 to 7 p.m. Tuesdays with
Yeah.
Tess, Voices
Yeah,
of the Global
I
Awakening.
was late today because I had an appointment and traffic was bad.
Well, shame on you, bad girl. Just kidding.
I know.
Yes, whatever time you
Yeah.
choose to be here is a
No,
precious
just to let
gift,
you
and I
know, I
thank
did
you very
intend to be
much.
on time. That
All
that is my
good.
intention to do that.
Thank you so much. Blessings to everybody. Have a wonderful week, and I'll see you next time. Take care.
Okay, thank you. You too.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.